All right, we are back. Welcome to the Locker Room podcast. Somebody doing dishes? We make a drink. Oh, exactly. Big Siff dog, come on, brother.
My bad, man. Somebody doing the dishes.
I was like, is somebody doing dishes?
I don't do windows or dishes.
Okay. Are we at the podcast or at the bar? What we doing? All right. Let's get up. We can be both. That's true. Okay, let's get right to it. We're gonna go straight to Miss Trish because she was out of town. She was getting her golf travel on. We missed her for what, Trish? 2 shows?
2 shows. I missed you guys. I missed y'all so much.
Goodness. Well, Miss Trish's Golf Life. What up? You get a little theme music today. Let's give you some claps. And of course, horns. All right.
Make a clap to this.
To show our appreciation.
And that's Big Siff dog. He going in early because he already starting his fun. And I am at MannyUp.
Manny.
All right, let's give us all a round of applause. Okay, let's get right to it. We gonna just get right into the show. Trish, you want to kind of introduce what's going on this evening?
All right, so we got a treat this evening. So we have Stanley Campbell. He's the owner of Martin Downs in Palm City, Florida. We also have Greg Vereen. He's with SSAGA, and we'll let him explain what those acronyms stand for. And we also have Coach Mike Rice back on from FAMU, and we have Patrick Jean-Pierre. He's also a athlete, a golfer there at FAMU, and we're so excited to have them all on with us today.
All right, I think let's give them some claps and let's bring them on.
Hello.
Welcome everybody. Again, I'm gonna give some claps. Thank you guys for just carving out a little bit of your time tonight for the Golf Locker Room podcast. We're so excited to have you guys. But you guys bring so much information to the golf community and our golf fam. And let's give a round. There we go. All right, Trish. I started with Siff last week to our detriment. No, I'm just kidding. He did a fantastic job.
Oh,
He can host it by himself. I'm telling you, he's ready. But tonight, since we got you back from your golf international extraordinaire, we're going to let you start off, explain what's going on, and let's go.
Okay. No, so today we wanted to make sure that we brought on Stanley Campbell. It's exciting to have him on with us tonight. You know, he is the owner of, as I said, Martin's Downs down in Palm City, Florida. And just amazingly, he's also alumni of FAMU. So, you know, just thought it was just amazing, just great to have him on here, have Coach on here, maybe talk about some things that could, possibly, come to fruition, who knows. And then, of course, again, we have, Greg with us here, and he's going to talk to us about SSAGA, and explain, they've been around for a very long time. I go to Rogers Park, and there's some folks that I play with there, and I've heard about it. And so to meet, Greg, and he's the president now of SSAGA. It's great to have him on. And then Patrick, it's always wonderful to see our youth out here, on, what you're doing. And, we want our kids, we want our juniors, we want our youth to see what it is, to see you on the course and others on the course, because, they see football, they see basketball. We want to show them golf. So thank you for joining us.
For sure,
Thank
no
you
problem.
guys for coming. Okay, let's get started. Let's get right to it, because I'm excited also. And Mr. Stanley Campbell, as Tish explained, one of just a handful, we can't fit them all in one hand, of African-American golf course and country club owners. We was just so excited to hear this story, and we was just cheering for you in the background. We was just very excited, and we're just lucky to have you. But I want to get into a small bit of your life story, because that's just amazing and fabulous as a standalone. And like Trish said, you are an alum of FAMU. And I think one of the first stories I heard is you was writing some code or some data for NASA around when you was at FAMU. So just give us a brief history. You can start anywhere you like, Mr. Campbell.
FAMU, I love thee. Fight and win wherever the battle be. So thank you guys for having me, and thanks for being affording us this kind of time to talk about what we're doing at Martin Downs Golf Club. So I am from Miami originally. I'm about the 8th generation from Miami. Our family actually originated in Tampa and migrated down to Miami, but went to Miami Beach High School. I'm straight out of the heart of Liberty City. I was the first generation to be bused, first class to be bused to the beach. And I graduated Miami Beach High, went to FAMU, and you're right. I actually majored in physics and mathematics. So all the FAMU folks know Jones Hall as it stands today. I actually used to have a lab in Jones Hall with the work I did for NASA. And I was a C student coming out of high school, and I'm not sure what happened, but I got to campus, and I kind of know what happened. I was washing dishes in the kitchen before going to FAMU, and I didn't want to go back to that kitchen, so I studied. So at 19, I working with Dr. Jones, and he put me on this NASA project, and it was about at the time it was a big contract, but it was small in today's numbers. And I actually wrote the data reduction and error analysis package for the Voyager 2. So what that means in English is it's just a mathematical algorithm to draw the best line on a curve. But when you're doing it at that level, that's Fourier series transformation or differential equation for the math major. And I had not even taken the second part of calculus yet. So I had to teach myself differential equations and then do the lab work. So at 19, I was probably the youngest person to have an actual lab at NASA, and to have mathematics that actually flew. And not sure if any of you would notice, but 2 years ago, 2.5 years ago, Voyager 2 left the solar system, meaning it's been flying for 40 plus years, and it left the Milky Way. And it's been sending data back the whole time. So that got me on the board of NASA. I was also a Navy pilot, because at that time, most of the pilots were Navy or Marine Corps, So most of you would know John Glenn, and even many of you would hopefully know Charlie Bolden, who was African American, who just was the former head of NASA. So Charlie and I were actually at the Naval Air Test Center together. So a pilot and a test pilot for the United States Navy. But thanks for allowing me to get that bit of introduction.
Oh, thank you.
Amazing.
That's just amazing story. Big Siff.
I noticed you didn't put the clap on when I was singing.
But we wanted to hear it all. We wanted to hear it. We didn't want to interrupt it. We wanted the whole song uninterrupted. But we'll give you something now. That's for that
song. Hey, Mr. Stanley, I keep it. I'm the funny guy of this group. I keep it 100. And so your bio was unbelievable, but your singing stinks. Let's be clear. But no, seriously, man. I thought the fastest thing in Tallahassee at the time was Bullet Bob Hayes. But it sounds like your math equations were probably a little bit faster than Mr. Bob. But it's a pleasure to have you on. It's a pleasure. When I was looking at your bio, Manny and Tricia always they present bios and we read over them. I said, man, I don't even know if I'm certifiable enough to even be in a conversation with this guy. I mean, Navy pilot, algorithms, mathematics. It's crazy, but it's a great crazy because guys in the FAMU program get an opportunity to connect with someone who made a huge impact, not only in NASA, but in African American community. So I appreciate being in your presence.
Thank you, Big.
It's good to be here for sure. Oh, and by the way, I never took a graduate class in math, so everything that I've done with 14 patents in artificial intelligence and neural computing that compete against IBM Watson, not one class have I taken in mathematics outside of what I did at FAMU.
Wow. How important is math? That was way pre-STEM, and he was in it early.
Well, he had already called me old when Bob Hayes was already in NFL. I was gonna let it go. Now you understand they were chipping with he did those algorithms with a hammer and a
shots fired. Shots fired.
Trish, any added comment?
Well, so my question is, I know me and you talked a little bit, and you stated that you don't get to play golf quite often. What made you decide to, I know we could read the story, but, what made you decide to, just buy a golf course? Okay, we can play more golf. We can move somewhere close to the golf course. We can move on a golf course, but you decided to buy the golf course.
That is a great question, and it is. There are certain things that fall into that category of divine intervention, where you kind of know you're just an instrument playing a role. I was in my bed at 9 o'clock. I hate to say that to any FAMU folks. Like, what in the world is he doing in this bed at 9 o'clock? So I was in the bed at 9 o'clock, and the phone rang. And on the phone was a person, because I had gotten a place down in St. Lucie County, Florida. And the guy was the barbecue guy. Now, this is literally the barbecue guy who I buy barbecue from out of his truck. And he says, look, I got this guy, Greg. You need to talk to him because he got a deal that I think you're interested in. Greg, I had met one time. The barbecue guy probably bought barbecue from him 10 times. Okay. In one time, 1 hour, Greg says, this course is coming up for bid. I think it's going to go for X number of dollars. And we need some help, and I think you should bid it because it should be a good deal. And so he gave me the number, and I'm saying 200 acres, golf course, 20,000 square foot building, there is absolutely no way this is going to go for that price. So I say, I'll call you back. So I go do a little research on the internet, call up the lawyer. Lawyer said, comes back with 10 times more data than I could ever find. You know, giving me the revenue, giving me the number of rounds of golf in there. And so I called them back. By then it's 11 o'clock at night. Two of the guys already dropped out. And I said, okay, I'm telling you, if it goes for that price, I would pay 3 times that much.
Wow.
And so they said, okay, we're going to bid it. And I couldn't even get down because it's the middle of the night. The bid was, by the way, the next morning.
Oh, wow.
So with 12 hours notice on a person that I only met once for 1 hour, I'm going to commit all of that. And so he gets in there. But now, once we make the decision, now it's on. We got to have a plan, a strategy, and the like. That's what military guys do. So I said, okay, here's what we're going to do. I got a meeting with my biggest client at the time of the auction. So you call me first, get there early, talk to the auctioneer, give him a very small and simple signal, and then take it from there. But when I hang up, because I have to hang up, do not move the phone from your head. And then you just take it. We're gonna play some Sotheby's on them.
That's right.
You just do not move that phone, because Michael Jordan's course is probably like 8 miles from here. So that I definitely need them to be thinking that it's Michael on the other end. Don't move that phone from your ear. And so they get in there. I hang up the phone. 30 minutes later, he calls me back and he says, "Hey man, you own a golf course." And I'm like, "Oh my God!" Now in the bed at 9 o'clock, my wife has already said, "What are you doing? Why are you entertaining them? You know you're not going to do that, and why are you wasting my time and yours?" So now I got to explain to this woman what we're going to do with this golf course, because I don't golf that much. But you know, at certain, you know, every once in a while, a deal comes by, and my brother, who was also a FAMU grad, he used to always say, "He who hesitates is lost." And now that is not the fact that you would jump on something like that. This could have been a nuclear waste dump, and I could have been strapped with all kinds of other stuff. But at the end of the day, we walk by faith. And when good people call you who have no ill will, who have done those things, you have to then listen. And when I listen, I research, and clearly I'd already called my lawyer. So if I need to, you know, if I need to pull that ejection seat, I know how to do that. But at the end of the day, when I came down the very next day, I realized that there was a very big mistake made by the guy who did the auction. I mean, who sold it, right. And that's where we'll talk about that in a little bit. But it was one of those things that it was not in my plans. It was not in my wasn't a goal or objective. I always wanted to play more golf. I didn't realize it was going to be this way.
Wow! Let's put that up. Amazing story. Amazing blessings. Walking by faith, and you know, fell into your lap by a good barbecue guy.
Hey.
What's the odds? I like barbecue too. So what is the odds? What is the odds?
So you didn't give that money. You didn't give when you realized the guy who was doing the auction and made a mistake. You didn't offer him any money back, did you?
No. So it wound up going at 3 times the number. And in fact, a bunch of real estate guys, 2 different groups of real estate guys were in the competition. And had they probably bid maybe 2 more up, it would have gone over the number that I had given him. I had not given him any leeway. So so when you talk about divine intervention, they stopped, and they stopped at the point where I thought a legitimate stop. If the first guys were right, meaning the guys who brought it to me, if they were right, and somebody like me was in the audience, that's where I would have taken it, and I wound up making that assessment. Again, that's the same math from FAMU, because when you look at it, there was a certain amount of risk, and then obviously if I got it at the price we were able to, I would be able to do something, even if I had to flip it if it wasn't the best deal. But as it wound up, he made a huge mistake, because his anticipation that it would not be a golf course, he wanted it to be subdivided. If he subdivided by three lots to an acre, and those are going for $1 million to $1 million homes, he would have wound up with about 200 times 3, 600 homes in here, all of which would have been at his golf course, because what he had done with this one is he strip mined it, basically ran it out, and made the property values go down, so the people would be glad to have the real estate agents develop it. And particularly because you have 9 lakes. So not only would you have 200 acres, but many of them would be lakefront properties.
Wow.
Yeah, so 600 people, he's got a golf course. He charges them $20,000 a year. That's 600 times 20-some thousand. So if I was him with that business model, I would have picked one and I would have gave it to him for $1. Because he had 100% upside. Now he has a competitor.
Nice. Let's give that up for good business. And Mr. Campbell, when you received the golf course, what kind of condition was it in? And you always had a vision also to make that golf course back to its former glory. Was you still excited? Because you said you did it real quick. You were bidding. Did you ever get a chance to survey the golf course before you bought it? Or tell us, when you got the keys to the golf course and you rode around it, how happy or how much work did you think you just bought?
Well, this is not something you want to take on as light of heart. So, I figured, when I was doing all those assessments, if I got it for X, I was going to I had to be able to do 2X to actually, make it into something. So when I had no ability to review. I owned it before I got on the airplane to come down here. And when I got here, it was an operating course, and it was probably, I would say, within the worst, the lowest of the, I would say the lowest 3 courses that I would be familiar with in the state of Florida. And as such, it had not, it didn't have a operable hydraulic system, meaning they weren't watering the grass. They had not watered it for over 4 years. They were buying minimum amount of water just to do the greens, but but all the licensure was working because they kept it operating, because he was taking money out of it, not putting anything in. He had not fertilized the fairways in 4.5 years. He had not had any work in the clubhouse. The kitchen had been shut down for 3.5 years, and they were selling hot dogs out of a 20,000 square foot clubhouse facility. Hot dogs and beer. That's but he was building a brand new course within a half a mile of here, 4 or 5 city blocks. And so when I got it, we all look at HGTV. We can look at a little home renovation thing. That's right. This ain't that, right? We look at your backyard barbecue. This ain't that, And we look at bar rescue. This ain't that. But
it's a little deeper.
all of that being said, my brother under me is a fine dining chef. My youngest brother is in the entertainment business and is a marketing genius. And so I figured if I could get it to a playable situation, then I could continue keep it operating. I did not want to trust these folks here, though, that if I shut it down for a day and I'd not be able to open it back up. So I said we're gonna fly the plane while we're building it.
Nice.
And that's what we did.
Nice, beautiful. And I'm sure the community is grateful that you're, instead of sucking stuff out to build something new, you just brought more value to the whole community also as a whole, bringing it back to its glory. All right, Big Trish.
All right. So, you have Greg here, and I know you wanted him on as a guest. So, Greg, wanted to allow you to introduce yourself and what you do with the SSAGA.
Hey guys. Actually, I should have talked to Greg first because he played the course today, and I never asked him how he liked it. So I should have asked him that question before I gave him that
link. How was the course, Greg?
Okay, so I'm a math major too, and let's put the numbers on the sheet.
That's right.
Let's see, $45 times 75,000 rounds a year is what? 3.3 million. Good investment, great investment, right?
I'm good.
But here's the deal. The deal is we're in an environment where sometimes people don't want to do business with you because of the way you look. And my perspective on this, being president of SSAGA, and SSAGA is the Sunshine State Amateur Golfers Association. Been around for 45 years or so in the state of Florida. That is the umbrella 501c3 for 14 different clubs throughout the state, from Daytona to Miami.
Wow.
And what we basically do is each club on a monthly basis, and we had to kind of split it up because money was getting tight with people, back in 2010 or 11 or so, where we used to do 13 tournaments a year or 14 tournaments a year. Now we do 6 and 6. We split the state in half. We do 3 on the north end, 3 on the south end for fundraising for scholarships for kids. And this has been a fantastic venue for us to pool our resources together, as opposed to each club, individual club, trying to raise these funds for these kids. And we're doing anywhere from $95,000 to $125,000 a year in donations for scholarships.
Wow!
And that's a tremendous opportunity. And when I actually heard about Martin Downs, Russell, your one of your guys that's working there, called me up and said, "Greg, you need to come up and buy this place." I'm like, he says, they're going to be auctioning this off in 2 days. I'm like, 2 days?
There you go.
I'm like, okay, you could have called me 2 weeks ago, not, today. But I'm also in the aeronautical industry. Used to be. I was an engineer at Pratt Whitney for, almost 20 years.
Wow.
And they wanted to move me from West Palm Beach to East Hartford to go to work. And I was like, no, I'd rather just change my profession than to go to East Hartford. So I came into the securities business. And I was interested to hear you guys talk about your investments earlier. That's pretty cool. But what I try and do is just put these guys together from 80 to 18 and ladies, organize them, and it's like herding cats, believe me, in order to be able to give back collectively. And that's the whole thing that we're trying to do. Introduce the game to kids, teach them about the responsibilities of golf and etiquette and life. Put them around professional people from all sorts of backgrounds and teach them how to be citizens. And that's what it's all about. Not necessarily by saying, come with me, but we do it more so by, let me show you how. This is what we're going to do today. Or this is the trip we're going to send you on. You're going to Australia. You're going to play in that tournament, and we're going to fund it for you. Okay, those are the kinds of things that we're doing as an organization, and it's been a ride. I've been the president for 8 years. My term is almost up by the end of this year, by the way, which is fun. But I just wanted to be able to, bring 85 to 100 players to Martin Downs, because I know what situation he's in, to be able to keep that course going. And if I can get the participation from Daytona to Miami of all of these people wanting to come to this place to play after we've played it, that's a win-win for everybody. And that's what the real deal is.
Thank you. Thank you.
Hey, Greg, man, it's Chris Sifford here, man.
Hey.
Yeah, I appreciate. I think you were almost about to go into the unity part, and so I'll broach it. I'm Chris Sifford, Charlie Sifford's nephew.
Yes.
And so all the opposition that he went through during those days, and to now being in the position that you're in, and I think what you just said, and I'm paraphrasing, we don't like to do business with the people that look like us sometimes for whatever reason. Could you give me an instance or a situation?
Well, it's okay. To me, it's not that we don't like to do things. To me, it's old school versus new school. And I'm not going to make jokes here, but I'm going to say it in the context of how I think about it.
Right.
And I don't want to embarrass anybody, but you'll understand what I'm saying when I say this. To me, the competition was about Jerry curls versus, bald heads. You know what I'm saying? Old school Jerry curls and what they're used to doing and never changing their ways and trying to bring them into 2000, at least just 2000, not 2020, just 2000. And it was a challenge because I'm in the middle of that. I'm 62 years old. I'm in the middle of that, understanding how they think, but what the young people can afford. And the disability was, back in the day, you were only allowed to go to 3 courses.
Right.
Now we can go to any course as long as you can pay for it, right?
Mm-hmm.
But the old school doesn't think that we were allowed to go. So my objective was to have them to understand you might not be able to go, but you do have a responsibility to go ask if you can come.
Right.
Don't just assume that you can't go anymore, because they need my money just as much as they need anybody else's money. And if you don't want to take my money, I'll go down the street where they want it. I mean, like big time, right?
Right.
Because over here, if you guys don't already know, almost every 15 minutes, there's a golf course.
Close.
And what we're trying to do is make sure that we're doing business with people who want to do business with us.
Definitely.
Form that relationship, keep that relationship so that we can all prosper in this golf game. As citizens, as students, as, professionals, the greatest thing I know about the organization and all of our golf opportunity is the network that we form in order to get things done. I'm in securities, also with an engineering background. You guys, you do what you do, but we can pick up the phone and call each other and say, hey, this is what I got. What can you do? That's what it's all about for me, right, as a professional.
Absolutely.
How can I help you? Because one day I'm going to pick up the phone and call you for some assistance as well. And that's it.
That is it. A network of unity, love, absolutely, and business. You cannot go wrong with that. Exactly. And that's a little bit of what we've been doing. We're very early in our podcast history, but we've been trying and with a little bit of luck, a little bit of blessings, we're starting to connect dots. This to this to this, and you're about to see some dots connected, and what happens when dots get connected. And that's why we built this forum, to be honest. I'm in California, Tricia's in Florida, Sif is in North Carolina, and we all came together to do a podcast to bring all of our resources together to grow this great game and to bring unity and awareness to golf. And somehow we fell into this great love of HBCU golf, and we've been on the road ever since, and this has been an amazing journey. Miss Clark's Golf Life, take us to another segment.
So for Stanley and for Patrick. So Stanley, being a FAMU alum, and then we have Patrick. He's going into his golf career there at FAMU and his student life. Like, what advice would you give Patrick, in his journey?
So first of all, and thanks for let me do this. You mind if I let Patrick introduce himself and then I'll answer the question?
Absolutely.
All right. Well, I'm from Augusta, Georgia. I'm a third-year student, information technology major. I transferred from Clayton State in Morrow, Georgia, but I went back and forth between Atlanta and Augusta. But let's see, Coach brought me in January 2020. I called him the previous summer, told him that I wanted to play college golf. At my old school, I wasn't playing golf, and he told me he'd do what he can. I remember he told me that I needed to bring my current grade up in one of my classes, or he told me that I needed to maintain a certain GPA, and I think that semester, I got like above a 3.2 or something like that. So that was well above what he asked me to do, and I mean, he made it happen the next semester. So that's about it.
Wow, nice. Grades and dedication. That hat fire too. I'm just gonna let you know. That hat is fire.
I love it.
So I think in the introduction, I think you basically went directly where I was going to take it. I can tell you, I had a similar situation. I actually got to FAMU. I was on a wrestling scholarship at Florida State. I got left school early. And my brother, who was 5 years older than me, but he did 4 years in the Army and made him a year ahead of me at FAMU, he said, well, look, just sleep on my couch, tell this guy you're going to major in physics. And then when your scholarship is ready, because they had no intention, or I'm sure they had some intention of educating me, but what they really wanted me to do was wrestle. And so at the end of the day, FAMU took me in on an academic scholarship, a C student on an academic scholarship, and Florida State had me waiting on my season. So the academics was the thing that allowed me to leverage every single thing, including the athletics, because obviously you have to have a certain amount of physical prowess to be a Navy pilot. But all of that being said, whatever that dream is, no matter what it is you want to do, be it in golf or any place else, if you hone the craft and you just grind, and I'm telling you, I'm a grinder. You're taking me right now, I'm still at the golf course, and I still have a formal day job in information technology. But at the end of the day, I will be the last person to close this place up, and I was the first one here. So grinding is about what it's about. And then once the more and the harder you work, the more focus you get, two things happen. No matter what, you will be shocked at how your skills get better. And then the second thing that happens is nobody can ever take what you know away from you. Mm-hmm. And so when you swing, every time you swing, I want you to think about just as one little thing, that this is a multi-billion-dollar sport where we know probably, even those of us in golf, I was watching the introduction here, if we know more than 10 people in golf, that would be surprising. If we know more than 10 on the business side of golf, that would be shocking. Mm-hmm. And so think about it from the standpoint of you can actually, if this is what the career you are choosing, there's a lot of ways of making it in this career. Swinging the club, making the club, advertising the club, owning a club, all of those things are available to you. The thing that I did as a 6th person to own a course, it sounds very phenomenal. It was a real estate deal, but now I'm in the business, and I can tell you about grass cutting heights. I can tell you the difference in the turning radius on the John Deere versus Jacobson. I can tell you about horticulture, and we're at an agriculture and mechanical school. When do we need to do pesticides? When do we need to do herbicides? All of those kinds of things that as you continue to work and you continue to hone your craft, make sure you're the smartest person in the room on the subject. And if you can do that, believe me, you can be as humble as you can. You can win without doing touchdown dances, and you can be extremely successful in golf or anything else you'll want to do in life.
Wow. Yeah, that's dope there, man.
I mean, it's phenomenal. I mean, like we said, we just lucky to have phenomenal men and women come on this show and give us gems. And listen, enjoy, enlighten yourself. I do. I'm a host, but I listen and I enlighten myself weekly. Thank goodness. Okay, Tricia, I didn't want to cut you off.
No, so I know you were talking, we were speaking of, connecting the dots. So we have Stanley, he has his course. We have Coach Rice, he has his team, he's FAMU, they're alum. I know the last time we had Coach Rice on the show, we asked, what's those top 3 things that we're needing for the program to make things, make the world go round for the program. And I know one of the things that, Coach did speak of was a track man, and he got it, so, there's one thing off the list that he's looking for. But, we have Stanley, we have the team, we have the coach, and, what we're hoping for is, maybe there's a way where we can, connect the dots there where, maybe we could do something for the students, the youth, the athletes, for the program. But, definitely hope there's, more conversations, even after the podcast to, connect those dots.
Sounds like a plan. He's an alum.
Hey, Coach Rice, how you doing, bro?
I'm well. How are you?
All right, man. Hey, the wild part about this, I'm over at the Wyndham in Greensboro at Sedgefield, and so I'm at my buddy's house, and so we happened to start talking about golf, and he said, "Siff, I had the Florida A&M golf team here." I said, "I just had Coach Rice on a podcast, Drew Brown."
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so I think I shaved a couple of $100 off the next visit, man.
That's right.
But he said your kids were a class act, phenomenal. They were yes sir, no sir. He said he took them all to the driving range. He said everyone loved them. He said, Siff, he said, not throwing shade on any other program. He said, but those kids, man, were awesome. He said, I'm gonna have them back anytime that they want to come. And he said he wrote you a check at the end.
He did. So Drew Brown was, like you said, a class act. He was there at the Wyndham. And I know Pat wasn't a part of it, but he'll be here this next year when we go back in March to play in the event. But it was huge what he did because it was a big house. And we were right there on the back of the Wyndham, Sedgefield, the driving range.
Right.
I got to stay there inside, and that was during our conference championship, which we won, which was great. But the whole time we were there, the way the house was set up, the guys are in there playing ping pong and pool. It was a perfect place to be staying for the championship, to keep them nice and loose. Nobody was, stressed out, and we had a good time. But it's crazy, you start talking about networking, and it's crazy how things fall in place. Us talking last time. And of course, Tyler Partee, who you know, Jonathan Partee, is here, and he's having a good time and enjoying himself. And, this guy we have on right now, Patrick's kind of taking the lead this year on the team. I like to talk more about what they do than what I do, and he's kind of humble. And, his high school grades weren't that great. He went to Clayton and kind of cleaned it up, but he's been near perfect since he's been here. He's got like a 3.8 GPA. Wow. Yeah, so
get it up. Good passion. That's it, brother.
Hey, Jonathan said, Jonathan called me after he found out that we had spoken, and he said, "Hey, man, why'd you tell Coach Rice I had some money?" I said, Jonathan, man, you big money, man. You got to give it up, man. You can't get the free ride all the time, man. But no, he was ecstatic about the conversation.
Tyler's, man, he's gonna be something special. But
athletic, man.
Very, very athletic.
Very athletic.
We got a heck of a squad. But going back to those scholarships, Greg, Patrick's in need of some. So.
He's on mute.
Oh, is he? Let me unmute you. Hold on, brother.
I'm muted myself.
Oh, okay, cool.
I said we try to help the kids from the state of Florida, but with exceptions, it's like I said, it's all about who you know, right?
Well, in the state of Florida, so that we can make exceptions.
I like the way he does business.
That's right. That's right.
Send some information to Stanley, Pat, and we'll hook you up.
All right, we'll do. Appreciate it.
Beautiful. Thank you. Connections, touching one another. Nothing's guaranteed, but it's always good to reach out and touch, and you just never know what might happen. You never know.
That's true, man.
So Coach, he said three things. He gave you 3 shots. You got the track, man. What was the other 2?
You know what number 1 was, Mr. Campbell? Our own golf course would be number 1.
Oh boy. And I
got a little horticulture background too from being in the industry for so long. So I know the same about how to cut all those mowers. And I know you said, what was it? Cooking that made you go back? What was it that made you go to school?
Oh, it was definitely that kitchen. I wish I was cooking. I was mopping the floor and washing pots.
Those bunkers in the summertime, that's what made me go to family. So, yeah. But, this is, we played against some of these bigger schools, and right here in town at Florida State has their own golf course. And obviously it's a huge advantage to be able to set up that golf course to prepare them for events. We don't have the luxury of doing that. We're at whatever the golf course is playing, that's what we're playing. And at times, especially even coming up there to where you're at, Siff, is those greens are super fast compared to what we're used to, and making those adjustments is tough. But when you have control over what you're doing, it's your own golf course, then you control. Obviously, being an agricultural school, why couldn't we make that happen? But,
how about that?
Yeah, right. I mean, I even pitched it into us purchasing golf courses. I think there's one here in town that I know the city would love to get rid of, and I wish we would take it over and make it ours. But who knows? Maybe in the future. And then the last one was obviously having a sprint or something that we can, travel around that says it's ours. These bus rides at times aren't very comfortable on these young men, and having something a little more comfortable where we can put their stuff up is definitely beneficial on traveling trips.
Very nice.
So let me. You mind if I follow up on that?
Oh, please.
So can you give me the name of the course?
It would be obviously you were here. It would be Jay Gaither. If you know Jay Gaither Golf Course.
Yeah, Jay Gaither is my fraternity brother.
Well, Jay Gaither, the city golf course is called Jay Gaither.
So the course is called Jay Gaither.
Correct. It's a 9-hole city golf course.
Oh, it's 9-hole.
Correct.
Have you ever approached the city with a package of partnership?
I have not, but I've pitched it to our leaders before.
Oh, that sounds like somebody's kicking the can down the road. Put that package together and go down there and talk to them. That's how the ball gets rolling.
So the agriculture school actually used to have a good chunk of land that they were doing farming. Well, when I was in, I hate to say this, but when I was in school, we actually were still drinking milk from the dairy. Is that, and I apologize, I've been on campus a lot, but is that any of that land still available?
Where and I'm not familiar. The only thing I can think of is where we have the great there by the highway. Other than that, that's not true. We do have some farmland. You're right, and I'm not sure where it is, but I know what you're talking about. I want to say it might be Quincy.
And then second question on the 9-hole course, is there land next to that to potentially develop it into a 18-hole course?
Not really. There is some land, but I don't know if it's enough.
Okay. So yeah, I'll follow up with you on that. Clearly, if the city has it, it's most likely going to be available because golf courses across the country are closing at a very rapid rate. Mm-hmm. And the municipal courses, if there's a municipal course, there's a deal. So then the next issue is, does FAMU want to step into that position, or is there a private play for that? So right. I'll follow up with you on that. So now number 3, what's the third one, Coach?
I was saying,
before you go there, I do want to give a little bit of, so Kaiser, I don't know if I'm sure the golfers, the coach knows Kaiser. So Kaiser actually, one of the first things I did here was I actually did approach the school, and Kaiser actually now pays me a small stipend, like $20,000 a year to golf after 4 o'clock. And so what they basically did, because this course, in as poor a condition it was when I got it, it had been previously a PGA qualifying course for the Honda Classic. Oh, wow. So all of the bones were there for one of the top PGA courses in the country. And 2 years before I got it, they had 3 years in a row where college teams like Yale, Stanford, North Carolina used to play a tournament at this course. And I think they told me at 1 year that FAMU actually might have played in that tournament. But in any case, first of all, you got a course now. It's just a long drive to get to it. But that being said, I mean, and I'm not joking, because Kaiser did it for a reason. They knew I was going to make an investment. The investment I've made got me this letter right here. This is one of the professors at Kaiser trying to come get the job as running the course.
Wow.
That you can't make this up. Just brought it to me today. Wow. So the issue of having a course that you got one, so you want to, whatever that means to you, and being the host and home course, I'll draw FAMU on in orange on the 18th. But,
let's get that up.
Yeah, we can at least start the conversation. There's no promises, but we can definitely at least start the conversation with the city.
Yeah.
Now I was gonna say, Mr. Campbell, you were right. We were supposed to be down there. I think it's 2 or 3 years ago. UNCG used to host for years, and word was that they are now at Hammock Dunes. Is that correct?
Yeah.
And reason being was because the condition of the course that went down. I guess they decided to go somewhere else.
Yeah, Hammock Creek. I think it's
Hammock Creek.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so we'll be down there in February for that event. So we most definitely have to get together.
Well, one of the things you guys can do is you can play here. This is, if you look at the USGA course difficulty, this is the course difficulty here is by far beyond that of Hammock Creek. This was the at one point this was the second highest club membership in the state of Florida, next to Doral, before Trump. Wow. And by the time you get here in February, I would venture to say it'll be as nice as Hammock Creek. And I'm absolutely sure that those folks who golf here today is going to hold me to that.
That's right.
Hey, Pat.
Yeah.
So what did you say earlier?
What happened earlier?
No, you said you were talking about moving from Augusta to where?
Oh no, for the summer. I was actually looking somewhere this summer to play somewhere, because in Augusta, I don't really have that much people to play with, nor a lot of courses to choose from. So I was actually thinking about going either Central Florida or like South Florida for the summer for the next couple of years that I'm in school.
We got a couple of young men from down by you, Mr. Campbell, down in Palm.
Yeah.
So realistically, about 2 minutes ago, I just started an internship program.
That's right. That's it.
But I say that just as a joke, because I know that I'm only the second jokester on here. But realistically, I actually do have Kaiser interns here.
Oh, nice.
And so a couple of things have happened over the last few months. One of which, college athletes can license out their image. So now I'm getting a hell of a lot of attention from Martin Downs Golf Course. And Michael's course is 8 miles in one direction, Tiger's course another 9 miles in one direction, and none of us are ever going to play either of those courses, or at least other than this young man after he wins the Honda Classic or the BMW. But that being said, I think we can actually bring as many students as you guys would have, who, if you can get housing, you have a place to play and to centralize. And remembering, Kaiser didn't do this because of me. Kaiser did this because of the things that you have to learn about golf at a course like this. I am moving it back to the USGA's difficulty level, meaning the guys who probably saw our bunkers getting in much better shape than they were a few months ago. But more than that, they saw us digging out bunkers that had been covered. And so when we're done, the course difficulty is going to be back at the level of what it was for the Honda Classic. And the last thing I'll say is we're going to now, not this year, but next year, we're going to add about 500 feet to the course itself. So you're just backing up tees. But in doing that, we'll wind up being somewhere around 7,300 yards. And so now 7,300 on an 18 on a difficulty that was already previously qualified. that would be exactly the length of what you just saw played at BMW up in Maryland.
Wow.
That's where we're going.
That's huge. 7,300.
Yeah, that's tough. That's tough. And
These young snappers, they hit it far enough.
That's right. Them young guys, man. I think Sif too. Sif gonna put himself with the young guys too. He hits it 300. That's what he's gonna do, man. So again, connecting the dots. I know great things is gonna happen just because of the connection that we just made. Stanley, Mr. Campbell has just provided just a great place that we can play. We can have our business there and do business there and see it succeed. And by the difficulty level, those are tough courses. And, anyone would be happy to fly out and play that course. And he's actually putting money into it. And I just want everyone to know, and everyone on this podcast and listen to this podcast, that's a destination. Martin Downs Golf Course is a destination, definitely, that we want all people who listen, all our friends who golf, it's going to be a destination that we need to frequent as much as we can. Trish.
So Stanley, Ken Jackson, he was part of the Golf Partners. He's my friend, and we were part of the Golf Partners down here, and we're all across the United States. And so he came and he visited your course this weekend past, and he said it whooped him and his 14 handicap. But that was the purpose of it. I was so happy that he kind of was able to connect us to, because that's the thing. We have to support you now, support you throughout, and continue to support. So I know our group is planning on coming down there and staying at your course, and I hope that again, like Manny said, others, that's a destination golf trip. We're coming down south. We're coming to see your course. We're coming to see you, and I hope that more of us do come down and come to see you. So just wanted to thank you so much again for jumping on the call. And one last thing. So before we get off the call, you have to tell the folks who your entertainment brother is, that I'm positive nobody knows of.
So I do have 4 brothers.
Yeah.
And in fact, my youngest brother was very instrumental in getting the FAMU Classic back down to Miami, where it belongs. And so Luther Campbell is the youngest of 5.
Don't stop, get it. Don't stop, get it.
That's right, Uncle Luke in the house.
And I'm absolutely positively sure. And he's a serious golfer.
Right.
That is awesome.
Awesome. At one time he was actually, I think he was on the cover of Golf Magazine or Golf Digest. I can't remember which. If you can imagine, I'm on a very classified mission, and I wasn't a golfer, and the guy shows up in the briefing, and he's got this magazine. So this guy right here. but yeah, that is my brother. He is very supportive of golf, and that's what I was saying. I'm not the marketing or advertising guy, but he's pretty good at it. So don't miss that. Don't miss that thing I said about licensing your image, because and there was something, Coach, you guys might be able to tell me. There was something about PGA qualifying that had FAMU in a reference. So can you kind of, because I never got the right story of what was happening there. Can you tell us what that was about?
So when you're talking about the PGA qualifier, you're talking about the Corn Ferry event?
Yeah, I think that's what it was.
So last year we had 4 of the top 5 APGA ranked players. And with that, we had the number one, which was Moby Dillard. But the four of them, so through the rankings, were the APGA paid for them to do the Korn Ferry qualifying. So what you saw probably was the Korn Ferry qualifying, which was, and of course they were associated with the university. But we had 4 of the top 5 black golfers last year, which was pretty good and historic. But so that was the FAMU highlight and what you saw on Korn Ferry.
Absolutely. So I don't have any problem participating in that likeness. I would, and I don't know if any of the college golfers have done the licensing yet. So
None of them have yet.
You say none have?
Not yet, no.
Yeah. So can you imagine if we were the first course that the PGA would have to recognize and license the image of a golfer?
Wow.
And I think we had a committee that just formed about 2 minutes ago
That's right.
to select some images that we want to put in for recommendation to the board. And that's the one upside about being the only member of your course, right? You have a very small board.
Very
yeah, but I'm very serious about doing that, because here's where the play comes in. Everybody knows that Kaiser's in the top 5, top 10 every year. They're going to get every kind of sponsorship known. I went down there. They got rooms that cost half as much as I almost paid for this place. Just a room where you swing, where the cameras, where your foot, how your body movement and all the rest of that, going into the computer and room, just a room that costs almost $1 million.
Wow.
So that's because those things are donated. So even though we talk about the course and getting a course, that's important. But equally important is having, just an hour before I got on here, Callaway just left and Puma's on the way in here tomorrow. And they're not coming because it's a black course. They're coming because I'm going to buy their stuff and put it on the shelf. So if I do the licensing of the image and then do 2 of theirs, now, fam, you just got at that level. It's no longer about a black court.
Right.
It's
Exactly.
about successful programs in the state of Florida.
Yeah.
That's dope, man.
Great. Thank
So,
you.
so the committee is almost finished voting.
2 minutes.
We love it. We love it. We
Yeah.
love it.
Yeah. I just have to send I just have to send the recommendations over to SSAGA.
Come on.
We're gonna be good to go.
There we go. Connecting those dots. Connecting those dots.
That .org nonprofit will get back to you.
Right.
That's right.
Yeah.
All right, you guys. Big Siff, parting words.
Greg, man, I think it's you're doing some amazing work in the state of Florida. To be able to assemble people from all over the state for one common cause, I think that's awesome. And I think that in the near future, you actually should spearhead something that explodes nationally with the same concept. You never know. I mean, I just think you're doing great work. Coach Rice, I feel like you're family now. I've met 2 guys that speak high. Jeff Champ, of course, he loves you to death. But when Drew Brown told me that story I said, I just talked to Coach Rice the other day, so I will see you when you guys come back. I promise you that I'll be there. And to the young Patrick, Mr. Campbell said something that stuck with me early on during the program that I haven't forgotten, and I totally get it. He came into Florida A&M with a C average, man. And so a lot of times we automatically think by the grade that we get at that moment that we can't trampoline into the future. Mr. Campbell is a living example that that C was just temporary. He had dreams and aspirations and goals. And so you do the same, young man. It's awesome that you raised that GPA up to a 3.2, but you have to understand something. This beautiful game can take you anywhere. It can take you all over the globe. You'll play with people that you never thought that you would ever have played with before. So I'll keep up with your progress through Coach Rice. But man, this is about you. As successful as Mr. Campbell is, as successful as Mr. Greg is, and Coach Rice, my focus tonight was for you to be here so that you can hear those guys, so you have a template and a benchmark to follow. And so when your career is over at Florida A&M, it's just beginning.
Yes, sir. Thank you. I appreciate
that. Trish, parting words.
Fellas, as always, again, thank you for coming on. Coach Rice, Stanley, Greg, Patrick, thank you all. Just from all different aspects of the golf world. Like to say, Patrick, we have Coach, we have Stanley, we got a course, we got Greg, he's running things down here in South Florida, and you're doing your thing on the golf course. We want you to be successful. We want to connect those dots. We want to make sure that we can, do whatever it is that we can to, make the journey the best. So keep your head up. Like Stanley said, grind. That's major. The sky's the limit. So whatever it is that you want to do, sky's the limit. Just grind it out. And that's it. I just want to say I thank you so much for coming on. I'm looking forward to things in the future, Stanley. I know we're going to do some great things, at the course and with the course. Definitely just keep on doing what y'all do.
Thank you, Trish. Yes, again, just so grateful to have all of you guys, Coach Rice, Mr. Campbell, Mr. Greg, especially the student. We always love to have the students up front and center so other people and other kids and other parents can see what a great example Patrick is doing and the great people behind him, like Coach Rice, like a Stanley Campbell, like a Greg. So again, like we said, our podcast is just to connect the dots and have conversations and make friends that you can call on whenever you need. Like Greg said, we need to be able to touch people and just see what we got for you, what I got for you. What can I do this time? Maybe next time I can do this. And that's how we build the circle of unity and a real diverse golf community where everyone's helping everyone and supporting in the right way. And, just you three guys in the middle, Coach Rice, Mr. Campbell, and Mr. Greg, you're a great leading example. We follow you. We're definitely grateful you got to tell our audience and audiences to come, because this is on every podcast platform and on YouTube forever. And people will be coming and listening to you guys' wise words for years to come. And again, we just want to thank you, man. And you're just always welcome. Anything you need to get out, even if it's 5 or 10 minutes, our platform is always y'all platform. And with that, we are out.
If I throw up down in Florida, don't act like you don't know me now.
Thanks again, everyone.
Hey, we're having a state tournament next month, guys. If you're interested, October at Martin Downs, by the way.
Man, you should have put that.
Yeah.
October 15th and 16th, Saturday and Sunday, 2-day tournament, and everybody's welcome to come because we're trying to raise money for these kids.
Hey, so what's the format?
So dope. What's the format?
Bring your gin.
Oh well, I want 15.
Oh Lord, oh Lord, oh Lord. Definitely, Greg. Make sure we hook up so we can promote it on our social media, put it on our website. That's another thing too. Please follow Fame U on all social media. Please follow Stanley Campbell and Martin Downs Golf and Country Club on all your social media and be engaged and leave comments. This is what it is to pub something, to support something. It don't cost you nothing. Engage. It don't cost you nothing. Please like, please share. When Martin Downs Country Club starts posting pictures of their great events, please share those events on your social media. Please comment on those pictures. They help. They help. Let's follow our guy, Patrick, young student athlete, and of course, follow the Golf Locker Room podcast. And we are out for the second time. Everything will be in our show notes, all the information for Greg's tournament, Stanley's golf course, and of course, Fame U, where you can donate and always give a loving hand. Again, we out.
Don't stop, get it, get it. Don't stop, get it, get it. Don't stop, get it, get it.
Damn you, I love the.
All right, guys. Thanks again. Thanks again.
Thank you. Have a good one.
Have a great one.
Peace.
Hold on. Hold on. I think I kicked somebody. Oh, I think I kicked Sift off by mistake. He'll be back on now. Let's.
Yo, how you feeling?